Hey, it's Conrad Thompson, and we are live at myworldpod.com. And thank you for joining us. Of course, we couldn't do it without the Hall of Famer, the greatest professional wrestler of all time, your friend and mine, Double J, Jeff Jarrett. Jeff, how are you, man?
Oh, Connie, the words that you just said as we rolled and went live should go for life, a little NWO style. Hey, Silva, make sure you're muted. Can you just say that all the time? Connie, I'm doing good today, my man. If we're in the central time zone, which would be 5 p.m., wouldn't our friend Cassio call this drive time? We're on drive time today.
Yeah, man, we're at drive time and we are live. Of course, last night, Double J was doing AEW duty, doing the pre-show in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania before AEW Dynasty. Normally, Jeff and I record on Monday mornings, but he was traveling back. So I thought, hey, if we're going to talk about Gail Kim, because she is our topic today, why not do it live? So if you haven't already, I'm going to encourage you right now, hit the subscribe button, turn on your notifications bell. And hey, it costs you absolutely nothing. It's totally free. And it really helps us in the algorithm. Drop us some comments below. Give us a thumbs up. We're just looking for your feedback. So be sure to hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button, and be sure to turn on that little bell because we are live. Now is your chance to ask Double J pretty much anything. He's been an open book and covered almost everything here on the program. So if you've got something that you've always wanted to ask Jeff, now is your chance. And if you're hearing this after the fact, go right now to myworldpod.com, hit that subscribe button, turn on the notifications bell. You won't miss us again. But speaking of missing us, we missed the announcement last Tuesday as we were getting ready for another episode of My World, and we didn't share all that we know now, but AEW did that for us on Wednesday.
Oh, God, it's
Starrcast is official.
Yeah.
It's going to be a big time week in the Arlington area. Of course, it's really Dallas, but we're calling it Arlington because it is, by God. And on Wednesday, Dynamite will be live. On Thursday, Collision will be live. Friday and Saturday at the Sheraton Arlington. Starrcast is coming in and taking over, and we've got some fun stuff up our sleeves. Of course, Friday night is the Ring of Honor pay-per-view, and it's right next door at the Esports Stadium. And then, of course, the big pay-per-view, AEW's very first stadium show, now a matinee affair. Globe Life Field, where the Rangers play, right next to the Sheraton Arlington. Man, this is going to be walking distance for everybody who's there, whether you're going to Ring of Honor, you're going to the stadium show, you're going to Starrcast. Arlington, here we come. This is going to be fun, Jeff.
Yeah, the DFW Metroplex area. I learned that I guess you could say the hard way back in the day when we went out and WCCW and all that. But yeah, it's the Metroplex area. And so, Connie, as this has been rolling down, and I didn't realize just how, look, I knew the launching pad of Starrcast, but man, it's kind of been you zig, I zag, and I've been a part of several Starrcasts, the OG and a couple others, a little Ric Flair last match and all this. But man, now that we're all, I guess you could say all on the same team, if you will, I'm pumped, man. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. What a 4 days it's going to be in the old stomping grounds of the Metroplex. And I'm looking forward to seeing what I don't want to say surprises, but what you got up your sleeve. And man, look at our comments coming in. Coach Rosie in the house, little Raj, little brother James. Anyhow, I like doing these lives, and I clicked it over on the comments, so I probably better turn that off. I'll be distracted. But no, Starrcast, Conrad, how pumped are you, bud?
Hey, I'm excited, man. We've been looking forward to doing one of these for a while. Of course, last year we had one Starrcast. It was international down in Australia. The year before that, you and I had a little fun a couple of days after the All In show for AEW in Chicago. They did All Out. But the year prior to that, yeah, we had a lot of fun in Nashville. So we're going to keep the streak alive. And Starrcast is back paired with All In. And how cool is it that it's AEW's first stadium show? Of course, there's been lots of speculation about that show, Jeff. A lot of rumor and innuendo. People are saying, hey, what if they were to combine a couple of titles, the international title and the continental title? What if it was Kenny Omega and Okada at All In? And of course, as you and I are recording this last night at Dynasty, after Kenny Omega's match, here came Okada, and that got the internet abuzz again. You've seen a lot of great matches in your day, Jeff. Where do you put that series of matches with Okada and Omega? And if that is the direction we're headed for July, that's going to be a special match, is it not?
Look at you coming out of the gate and getting me to rank. It's I'm not one of those, and it's subjective and all that kind of stuff. But Conrad, when we were doing the 0 hour last night, in the 0 hour last 90 minutes, we there were only 2 matches last night, which I absolutely love from our perspective. We got to get should have had the granular shirt on. We got granular on multiple things, but we actually did kind of run out of time just really digging in. We did touch on Kenny, but man, his series of matches, where did I rank it? I mean, right up there at the top. Look, I have said it multiple times on this pod and 0 hour and other places. The Billy Goat, Will Ospreay is on the scene now. But when you go back over, I guess you could say 7 years, who's had bigger, high-profile matches? I don't think Kenny. I'd say Kenny has the most in the injury, and I'm going to get, I'm going to say, oh, you forgot this, you forgot that, but he ranks right up there. And you got to say the majority of his matches that really define, in a lot of ways, both a guy's career is Okada. So now put him on the same soil, same company, 2 titles, could get interesting. But man, I'm going to go back to what you said. There is already a lot of you can't call them Monday morning quarterbacks, but you can call them, they're pre-booking the show in a lot of ways, which we both love about wrestling, but already quite the chatter. And it kicked off last night, 3 Owen Hart matches, attorney matches, which will get us to Double or Nothing, and then the Double or Nothing winners, get us to Globe Life. So the roadmap is in front of us for AEW, no doubt.
Jeff, there's been a lot of discussion about the Owen. Of course, there was last year. A lot of chatter about the Owen. Is there a way we see you find a way to sneak into this tournament?
Well, look, I always chuckle when we look on our the Twitterverse, but the Xverse now. They give the comments, how in the hell, that damn Jarrett, how did he slide in here? I'd like to say that. But I don't think it's in the cards for me this year. And I've had some discussions, a couple of Wednesdays in a row. Had a small discussion. I'll just kind of leave things very broad strokes here. But Conrad, to answer your question specifically, don't see me sliding in on this one, which in a lot of ways, people say, Jeff, are you disappointed? I got a few of those last night. And I can honestly say that last year, how all that just kind of transpired and the respect I gained with Hangman and the Chicago faithful. Last year's Owen was special in a lot of ways. Me being involved, being involved in the finals with Bryan Danielson, and then got the match after that leading up to All In. That was it's certainly top 3, top 4, top 5 kind of series of moments that kind of led. And it all started with, hey, Jeff, can you give us a few comments about Owen and what the Owen means to you? Conrad, that's literally how it started at a TV. And Jay Lethal was ready to go. Karen was ready to go. And so they were kind of waiting on me. And I said, hey, they want me to give some comments. And anyhow, that the producer was great, and I just had a flood of emotions come up. But it all started right there, Conrad, last year. So me not being in it, when I look at the now 7 and Jay Whitehead, snake bit injury got him. One of those guys that had the injury bug kind of creeping around, but you still kind of look at the competitors in there. It's truly incredible. And when you look on each side of the bracket, I'm going to selfishly pull, because I'm a huge fan after watching that cage match, Kyle Fletcher, Ospreay showdown at Double or Nothing. That would be special. Who knows? But the Owen is stacked once again, no doubt.
They had a lot of fun at Dynasty last night. It was an incredible pay-per-view. I think the opening match was Will Ospreay and Kevin Knight. I got to admit, I wasn't super familiar with his work. Man, what a breakout performance that was. As far as an opening match on a pay-per-view, about as good as you could find. I mean, really an impressive performance by both. I mean, we all kind of have grown to know what to expect with Will Ospreay. I wasn't super familiar with Mr. Knight's game, but now he's all elite, and I guess he's got, some history with New Japan. What'd you think? It was a big time debut for Mr. Knight, was it not?
I sat and watched that, and I had my iPad that I have at 0 hour to notes, and shout out Alex Marvez once again. His Florida Gators are playing tonight, but his research is incredible, and me and him go back and forth, and I both, I try to even dig even deeper than his research, but knowing kind of at a last minute deal that Ospreay's opening up, I had the feed on my iPad, but also watched it live. Kevin Knight, look, we can sit here and let me think how to say this, Conrad. His athleticism, like many folks of this current generation, you just kind of go, wow. But I think he's got a little bit of a different, apologies. I think he's got
calling you right there. He's calling you right now to make sure you plug him.
But his, I guess you could say his flow, which goes with a little bit of charisma, a little athleticism, putting things together. He's special, man. He's got a real shot. Now, you know me, immediately through my mind, not even 5 minutes into the match, I start thinking, all right, how's his promo skills? So let's see. I am hoping for the best. I literally have no idea, but boy, his in-ring ability is special.
I also wanted to ask you about the next match. I know this is going to catch you out of left field, but I enjoyed, excuse me, the Hurt Syndicate and Big Bill and Brian Keith. I'm super impressed with Big Bill and the way he looks and performs in 2025. He's got star written all over him. But I think my biggest takeaway was the Hurt Syndicate. Because I said to myself, I was actually watching with a couple of friends.
Did you say self?
I said, hey, guys, in an alternate universe, like if quote unquote wrestling was real, is there anybody out there who could beat this tag team of Shelton Benjamin and Bobby Lashley? Like two legitimate, I mean, when you talk about credibility, believability, like they check every box. And I actually asked them, hey, in an alternate universe, I know they both enjoyed incredible individual success, but if they would have started as a tag team 20 years ago, can you imagine the way they would be revered as an act now? Like to me, on some level, it's like the Steiner brothers, that era of legitimacy where they have that amateur background, but they're big enough and bad enough. What are you going to do about it? I get like a Steiner brother vibe. In an alternate universe, I would have loved for that to have been a long-term tag team. I'm saying all that to say, I think they might be my favorite tag team right now.
When you just gave the comparison, and I just kind of teleported back, can you imagine a program, the Steiners against the Hurt Syndicate?
Come on.
Yeah. I mean, that damn, Conrad, that would be, that would be some hard hitting, Shelton, neither guy, and I can get away with saying this, neither guy is a spring chicken, but their look, Conrad,
unbelievable.
It's off the charts. They look phenomenal. Shelton is a unbelievable athlete. I mean, crazy, man. When you really know his stats, oh my God.
I was negative on it the first time I saw it, Jeff. Like the first time I saw it, I was like, I don't like it. And it was because I want traditional tag teams. I don't like when it's this guy's a star and this guy's a star, and maybe we don't really have anything for them. Let's put them together. As a rule of thumb, I don't like that.
Okay.
I like the Hart Foundation, the British Bulldogs, the Harlem Heat, the Steiner Brothers, Demolition. Like I want a polished team. Since I knew them both individually, I was like, I'm not going to like this. And then the more I watched it, I think it might be my favorite tag team. I didn't see it happening at first, but it's like, dude, I think about fantasy booking them against Demolition from back in the day, them against the Road Warriors, them against the Nasties, them against Doom, them against, Harlem Heat. But I always go back to, dude, they're modern Steiner brothers. I know they're not brothers. You get what I mean. But the amateur credibility is there. And I just think MVP is kind of the cherry on top. I'm here for the Hurt Syndicate.
You know what? I didn't realize that we disagree on something here. Now, I do, I'll go old school in the territory here. The Rock and Roll, the Fabs, the Sheep Herders. I mean, going back in a whole nother day, the interns, and I mean, the bounty hunters and all that kind of stuff. But I think the most well-known would be Hogan Savage, the Mega Powers being put together. I really think I always love the good chemistry when you put two singles together, but then they come out and absolutely say, we are a tag team now. I just think the personalities and the dynamic, and maybe, just maybe, Conrad, under the layers of our humanness, if you will, as we digest it, you think there's something to that you saw Bobby Lashley all those years, and then you saw Shelton and Shelton in and out of different tag teams. Do you think there's a little bit of a magic there in that it appeared to you or occurred to you, or the light bulb went off? Hey, man, they look great as a tag team, and they're both badasses. Is it because they were both singles? You knew them before?
I don't know. I just know that this snuck up on me. I didn't expect to enjoy it as much as I do. And now I think it might be my favorite tag team. And one of my favorite products that I'm excited to talk to you guys about is Stopbox Pro. Listen up. If you own a handgun for self-defense, your storage likely fits into one of two pretty frustrating categories. It's either locked away, meaning it's safe, but it is, in fact, out of reach in case of an emergency, or it's unsecured, which leaves it vulnerable to anyone. But Stopbox USA saw the problem and redesigned a groundbreaking solution. We're talking the Stopbox Pro. With the Stopbox Pro, you'll never have to choose between security and readiness ever again. The Stopbox Pro is an ingenious push-button locking system that gives you fast, reliable access when every second matters, without the hassle of keys or the reliance on batteries. You see, the Stopbox Pro is 100% mechanical, so it works every time, no power needed. With Stopbox USA, you can finally have both security and readiness, because Stopbox Pro's mechanical keyless system allows for that fast, secure access without the risk of fumbling for keys, because, again, every second counts. But it's also battery free, so you never have to worry about your lock not working because the doggone battery died. All the products are made right here in the USA in their own facility. So not only does this ensure the highest quality craftsmanship of every product that's sent out, but it also creates meaningful and important opportunities for the American worker. Not only that, but Stopbox Pro is also TSA compliant, so you can actually travel with your firearm. You just throw it in your check bags and you're good to go. It's TSA friendly, man. For a limited time only, our listeners can get a crazy deal too. Not only do you get 10% off your entire order when you use our code MyWorld at StopboxUSA.com, but they also give you a buy one, get one free for their Stopbox Pro. That's 10% off, y'all, and you get a free Stopbox Pro. All you got to do is use the code MyWorld at StopboxUSA.com. Discover a better way to balance security and readiness with Stopbox. Jeff, I want to get your opinion on a few more matches and a few more moments from Dynasty.
Bring it.
One of the matches that everyone circled before they were going into this one was the three-way dance. Kenny Omega, Ricochet, and Speedball Bailey. We mentioned near the top of the program that Kenny Omega got his hand raised there. But what a performance by all three. I'm not sure that Ricochet is of this world. And Speedball Bailey, man, for this to be one of his first AEW pay-per-views, he took some crazy bumps that people in my household had never seen before. I mean, crazy stuff. Did you get a chance to see this one? What'd you think?
Buddy, did I get a chance to see it? This may be a hot topic or a loose wire, or I may be going down a limb, but can you imagine in a different world or a different night, or if that would have gone on last?
Yeah.
Just throwing it out there. Yes, Kenny, he over delivers. And Speedball, and I don't know if you probably did, and you probably had the sound down. Oh, there's Jeff talking. But on 0 Hour, we covered a real fascinating side of Speedball, and kind of I don't call it a sidebar, but his journey. I mean, he was prohibited from coming into the States, and he's Canadian, and he kind of looked at Kenny's career and how Kenny, made himself a name around the world. And so Speedball traveled from coast to coast in Canada, and he just really tried to define his craft and all that, and worked with a lot of folks around the world, including the folks that are now a part of the AEW roster. And Renee went through several of them, and I wasn't completely aware of. And then obviously the Marvez research and all that kind of stuff. But man, for him, and I know he's been on TNA, but for him to make his AEW pay-per-view under that setting, a rocking house, man, a rocking Philly house, I'd almost go as far as say he may be the all-star of that match, and that's taking in a lot of ground when you have Ricochet, who is straight up coming into his home as his own, as the antagonist, if you will, the heel, the bad guy. But I thought those three, you couldn't ask for anything better. It tore the house down, and then again, in a different thought, just how everything transpired, it would have been interesting to see, Kenny get the win, Okada music, go off the air with face to face because of their iconic. Now look, hey Jeff, you got to put the world title on last. I get that, so I'm not going to argue that point, because look, records are made to be broken, rules are made to be broken, traditions are what got us here. So I can understand both sides of the argument, but I was just thinking that triple threat tore the house down. And if that was the last image you saw, I thought, anyway, that's me playing truly Monday morning quarterback.
Well, let's talk about the main event. I think nearly everyone predicted that Swerve Strickland was going to win the world title. I think Brian Alvarez and Dave Meltzer's site actually had a headline posting that Swerve won his second world title. Maybe they wrote it ahead of time.
No,
but that didn't happen. John Moxley got the victory.
Yes.
And the Young Bucks are back, seemingly siding with the Death Riders. Tony Khan addressed this at the press conference afterwards, where he was asked, hey, do you listen to fan feedback? Because it doesn't feel like fans are into the Death Riders. And Tony had an answer for it and said, I think the Young Bucks coming back and siding with the Death Riders makes it very interesting. And I agree. I think I'm more into this Death Rider angle right now than I have been in a while, because I think everybody goes, the Young Bucks. What do we have here? I want to see what happens on Wednesday now. That's kind of the idea, right, Jeff?
Yeah, I was going to say, who would have thought? Do a little episodic programming in there. Look, and that when you have a moment like that and the history, oh boy, I mean, that I'll really get long-winded here, so I'm going to make sure that I won't. But the Bucks have history with literally everyone, essentially in AEW, especially at the top of the card. So when those guys enter into the scene, as my old man used to say, the entire deck is reshuffled in a real positive way because of what you just said. How does this play? Okay, well, we saw what happened on Wednesday between Hangman and Swerve. Okay, how does that play? Wait a minute. Wait, they actually helped Moxie win. Well, no, wait a minute. How does that play? How does that play to what happened on their, kind of last night at Dynamite? Just all the layers, intrigue. In a lot of ways, that is the essence of our business. What's next? It's certainly got all eyes lasered in on Dynamite this week. I'll say that. And a lot of options. And I think that is one of the best things when you enter top guys right back into the mix at the very top. And, yes, they align themselves, but that's just the tip of the iceberg of the story. Anyway, I'm pumped. It's an injection into all sorts of factions and stories and show elements and the promotion, and certainly Double or Nothing will be here for you know it, and that's the next peak of the arc. So we'll see.
I for one am looking forward to seeing what's next. I enjoyed the pay-per-view, but I did not get to see the finish. I don't know that you and I talked about this, but I had a house full of company to watch the pay-per-view, and the entire city of Gunnersville lost power as Moxley was on his way to the ring. So we saw Swerve's entrance, and then complete and total darkness. And then when the guys eventually, 10 minutes later, they're like, well, I guess we'll go home. It's late. We all got work tomorrow. As they drove through town, they said, hey, man, it's not just your street. The whole town lost power last night, Jeff.
No way.
Yeah, it was crazy. Speaking of crazy, there was a big crazy debut on Friday night. We saw the debut for WWE's Rey Fenix. Of course, Rey Fenix is someone, if you've watched Lucha Underground or TNA or certainly AEW or AAA, I mean, he's been everywhere, and now it's official. He is a WWE superstar. Of course, earlier this year, back in January, we saw the debut of Penta. He debuted one of the first, I guess it was actually the second Netflix Raw. What'd you think of Phoenix's debut? Have you had a chance to see that? And do you assume that, they're going to try to keep them separate? One fellow on Raw and the other on SmackDown. Does that make sense to you?
Oh, we love the armchair quarterback and QB and book and all that. I would venture to say, because they've mentioned Lucha Brothers and the past history and everything that goes with it, but it's a lot easier to establish, I think, back to what I just said, in that you really have two IP. It's not yet the Lucha Brothers are an IP. You really have three. You have Lucha Brothers as an IP, or a money-making machine, or an action, whatever it is. I'll just say IP. But then you also have Pentagon and you have Phoenix. So you're really dealing with kind of two guys, three IP. And so I think it makes business sense to launch him that way. But my man Codes, Conrad, you know how he is in that when he picks his favorites. I'll never forget when I wrestled Phoenix on Dynamite. I think it was Dynamite. Cody was all he really cared about. Hey, Dad, that kick hurt. He kicked the hell out of you. He kicked you bad. But so yes, watch the debut, my man, with Cody. And look, it goes without saying, he's on a different stage. And you said he's been on so many stages. When I wrestled him at Triple Mania, however many years ago that was, I am sounding like the legend who's just, anyway, I was the mega champion, and we were switching it to him that night. And Conrad, we did laid this series out, and all of a sudden he's going to do this dive onto me. And you can probably go back and watch this, but I was almost back to the rail. He jumped from the ring over me and hit Miss Pena. It was not a pretty sight, but she recovered and all that. But man, he has got hops. He's got springs. He's got charisma. He's got so much energy. Both of them really do. They both have that Hispanic energy that is infectious. Yeah, I mean, it was exactly what we've seen from him before. But it'll be interesting to see, their chartered course. But I did see it.
I don't know. I'm not a wrestler. What do I know? I'm going to ask a wrestler, though. I've heard multiple guys say off the record,
oh boy,
better watch out for Rey Fenix. You will wake up with a headache the next day.
Buddy.
Okay. You can confirm that?
Look, and there's certain guys that are, let me think. Kurt Angle was not reckless, but you absolutely knew you were in the ring with him. Snug sounds cute and cuddly. Kurt was there on everything. You absolutely knew when you got done, you were in a contest. I'm not saying a true sport, but you were in a contest. Other guys can be reckless. Other guys can be stiff. Ray flat out lays everything in, to the point, just past, hey, dude, you're killing me. He's all about being aggressive. That's the PC word, I think. He's very aggressive, Conrad. Very aggressive.
I just remember, listen, let's just be honest. We've all seen the chatter online. There's criticism that AEW takes high risks here and there, and they're risking injury here and there. And I heard multiple wrestlers say, hey, man, if I was given the choice between doing that or wrestling Ray Phoenix, give me the barbed wire bat. The idea being, I guess he's been dealing out concussions left and right is the way it's spoken about to me. That was not your experience, though.
No. With that, look, so yeah, maybe it's no. Now I'm going to say this in Ray's defense. If you know a guy is going to throw a wild ass roundhouse and might not have the best aim, and
it's on you to protect yourself, right?
Right, it is. Like, guys, we say, hey, this ain't ballet. This is blah, 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 blah. Okay. With that being said, don't feed your head out there and then start bitching. That ain't how the world, in my opinion, I certainly wasn't taught that way, observed that way. That makes no sense. It's like, oh boy, and now I'm giving the Jarrett. Like, who in their right mind in a sporting contest, if you know a shot from left field's coming, that you don't at least try to like take that into account. Again, this goes back to, and maybe it is a different era, a different mentality. You got to put groceries on the table every night. It's one of those things where you have seasons. So you better learn how to protect yourself. And I mean that in every sense of the way.
I found myself at a TV show more than a decade ago, and I was fortunate enough to be able to hang around and overhear some things. And I heard a talent who was on the main roster and getting a push and getting moved up the ladder a little bit, kind of excited, sharing with some other legends in mixed company that they were going to have their first match with Rob Van Dam. And they were asking for advice. And Mark Henry said, without, I mean, it was immediate. Hey, I got my first match tonight with Rob Van Dam. Do you guys have any advice? And it was immediate.
Put your hands.
Get your motherfucking hands up. I knew exactly what he meant. And I feel like what you just said is, hey, if you know a guy might accidentally throw an errant kick here or there, it's on you to protect yourself.
See, the point is, it's not accidentally. They know what they're doing. I truly
don't think they're intentionally trying to hurt anyone, but they are trying to make it look good.
Bingo. I'm saying they're not trying to hurt, but they don't mind protecting their integrity and giving you a potato.
Yeah. And how do you feel about that? Because for better or worse, there are wrestlers out there, including a fairly famous one, who was critical of your, hey man, we're all working together, let's not get hurt style. And I know that's strong criticism, but no major surgeries, wrestling since 86. So it's clearly worked for you. But do you have a problem with guys who work that style, since you're sort of the antithesis of that?
Do I have a problem with guy? No, because I've always, and I've worked with many, many folks through the years. I don't put it on them. That's their style. I put it on me to protect myself. And Conrad, can we go kind of a two-shot here? Silva, can we go two-shot here? When push comes to shove, and I want you to hear me out, Conrad, when push comes to shove, you can always pull out this move.
It's my favorite. It's my favorite Double J move of all time. Because I've seen it in use and it works wonderfully. But I've always admired that, though, about you, because I saw Bret Hart sort of give an explanation for why he hated chops and thought they were stupid and didn't want to do them in his matches with Ric Flair. His thinking was, hey, guys, it's supposed to look like it hurts without actually hurting. This really hurts and doesn't look like it does that much damage, but it kind of does. Throw me with a working punch much before you hit me with a chop. I thought that was logical from him, and I appreciated that he took such great pride in, he had never hurt anyone in his career and all that sort of thing. So I just sort of, when I heard that criticism about you, it was like, wait, it's bad to be safe now? It's bad to not hurt people or get hurt? Like, what are we doing?
You know what? this is, God, I wish we had Dutch here join us, because it's so situational in that Lawler hated chops. I literally hated chops. Brad hated chops. But anyway, I'm kind of in the middle in that there is no doubt a well-placed chop or two in a match, especially if I really got to say, if it's well-placed and well-timed, and I don't say well thought out, because sometimes the best things are the spontaneous things, but there's magic in that. But after 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, it's like, dude, your hand is hurting. My chest is bleeding. And we got diminishing returns to the crowd after about 3, because then they go, oh, shit, that one hurt. Ooh, Jesus, he got 2. Oh, wait a minute, 3? They must not. Oh, okay, 4, 5. Oh, okay, that don't really hurt. Look at them. They're at 7 and 8. Yeah, it is what it is. You see guys do the slap spot, same thing. And that's.
I do want us to get to our topic today, which is Gail Kim, and we do have some questions coming in. I'm going to get to some of those, but I do want to ask you, since we're talking about this right now, because you and I've never discussed it. What do you think about the old school, kind of out of fashion? I'm not saying 10, sort of headbutts in the corner. But the other spot they used to do is, I'm going to stand on the second rope and I'm going to punch the guy 10 times in the face. Because I do think if you're trying to poke holes and suspend disbelief, which I get is silly in wrestling now these days with everything that we see sort of acrobatically. But the idea that one guy would just let you punch him in the face 10 times and then there's no bruising or there's no cut. Do you feel like that is out of fashion now too? Because we don't see it very often.
Boy, oh boy. So let me ask you, what is your question? Because
what you were talking about, how fans may perceive chops. That's what made me think of it, is you're like, all right, 1 chop, 2 chops, but the 10 punches in the corner, we put that out to pasture a long time ago, it feels like, in wrestling, but the chops are still there.
You ever heard the Owen Hart Chief Jay Strongbow story?
No.
It's been shared, but it was, and I think it was on the 10 count in the corner. And look, I'll tell the Jerry Jarrett story first. That my father would have probably gave a young guy one of those kind of speeches and said, hey, make this make sense out there. And when you back a guy in the corner and you give him a big turnbuckle and he stays, and you get up, and then all of a sudden you're punching him 10 times and every punch looks really good. And then he staggers out, and then the next thing you do is pull him in a headlock. What'd you do with those? Very critical and this and that and wasting punches. That means the punches don't mean anything. And my old man would give that speech, and in the main event of the night, Lawler would take 600 punches to the face, pull his strap down, proverbial drink his spinach, and he'd start punching guys all over. So it's so it can be hypocritical. It can, all kinds of things. It can be really situational. And so I don't think anybody that tries to take a real hard line is, in a lot of ways, you're just backing yourself in a corner. Because, God, I had this conversation yesterday in catering, Conrad, that I said, I wish if the young guys would ever drill into, I'm going to go watch this match, but I'm not going to say let them pick the spots. Close your ears, listen to the people. They tell you everything. And you would, the 10 punches in the corner, or Lawler pulling his strap down. If the people are being engaged and entertained and all that, I think that's where we're going with everything. But I can understand both sides of that argument. But Chief James Strongbow, God rest his soul, he was a hell of an agent. He really cared. He would sit guys down and go in depth on things to improve on, and this worked and that worked. I think he was kind of giving Owen the hard time. It's like, I'm trying to think what his nickname he had for Owen. But anyway, he was saying something about Owen, the 10 punches in the corner or something like that. He said, it just doesn't make sense. And Owen just nodded his head and said, yes, Chief, I agree. I think the next time when I take a punch, I'm going to start into an Indian war dance and start throwing chops.
Oh, I remember hearing that. Yeah.
Yeah. That says it all. It's so situational. If you can get it over, get it over. But listen to the people. They'll tell you. They absolutely will tell you.
Well, I'll tell you what, something we want to get over with you today is Factor. Make this the best season yet with nutritious 2-minute meals from Factor. You know, eating well has never been this easy. Just heat up and enjoy, giving you more time to do what you want. Get outside this spring instead of prepping and cooking indoors. Factor meals arrive fresh and ready to eat, and it's perfect for any lifestyle. With 45 weekly menu options, you can actually pick gourmet meals that fit right in your goals. Choose from Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, Keto, and more. Factor powers your day with satisfying breakfasts, on-the-go lunches, premium dinners, and guilt-free snacks and desserts. By the way, it's easy to savor more this spring because Factor meals pack in the flavor with none of the fuss. We've talked about this before, but Jeff and I are regular users of Factor. We consume this on a weekly basis. I can't tell you how many people in wrestling do too, because they make clean eating easier. So you see, sometimes when you see a wrestler, they might have 2 carry-ons. One of those bags has their gear, but usually the square-shaped one, it's insulated and it's filled with Factor. Don't take it from me. Just check out your favorite wrestler. The next time you see him dragging his luggage through the airport, there's a good chance one of them's full of Factor. Get started right now at factormeals.com/myworld50off. Just use that code myworld50off and you'll get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. That's code myworld50off at factormeals.com/myworld50off for 50% off plus free shipping.
Conrad, I don't know what made you say that about wrestlers carrying foods, but man, I won't go back into what guys used to do, white coolers, ice them down and all that.
Yeah.
But now the guys do come out on the road with, I think, 3 bags, because they have their work bag, kind of their travel bag, and then they have their food bag, and it's crammed full. When they're done off the road, it folds up and it goes in the work bag, so you return with 2 bags. But yes, full of Factor. Factor is the go-to. Energy bites, the juices. You got it. I had salmon when I got home today, my man. Factor is the way to go. Factormeals.com, my world, 50 off.
Hey, Jeff, we didn't talk about this, but real deal, you know, my parents had they had a pipe burst, and so their house was being renovated while they had an insurance claim. So for the better part of a month, my parents were off and on between here and their beach house.
No way.
But when they were here, there was one day where I was like, hey, you know what? I could fool everybody and make them think that I cooked. So I took some Factor, I heated it up in the microwave. It was fantastic, but I knew better than to serve it in the containers. So I put it on our fancy plates here, and just had it plated, and we were able to eat outside, and everybody felt like I made some fancy gourmet meal. Now they knew I didn't do it, so I just said I had it catered. It was Factor. It was affordable. It was great. And then afterwards, I told Dad, I said, by the way, you just had your first keto meal. And Dad's like, what? What the hell's keto? And I go, well, was it good? He goes, it was great. How do I get it? And I'm like, dude, all you got to do is go to factormeals.com and be sure to use our promo code myworld50off. That's factormeals.com/myworld50off. Use the promo code myworld50off, and boom, you're hooked up, Dad. It's that simple.
You might be go ahead, pal. Good stuff.
Hey, let's talk about briefly. I know that we got a lot of questions I want to get to here from our live audience. But there is a big NCAA basketball game happening tonight. And by the time everybody listens to this on their podcast feed tomorrow, they know what really happened. So here's your chance to get it right, you half-ass handicapper. Is it going to be Houston or Florida tonight? Who you got?
Buddy, Conrad, I'm going to get out the really good news first. I picked Connecticut girls to win it all. We had a Warner Brothers contest. There was about 20 of us that got in. I don't think I won, but I think I'm right up there. I picked Connecticut. It was a outstanding win. You know, Gino, I could talk girls basketball for a while, and it's obvious, you know why. But anyway, pick the girls to win. The boys, I'll go ahead and say it. Originally, I had Duke winning it all, but my gosh, Conrad,
what a collapse.
I went to sleep, and, you know, I don't have trouble falling asleep, but I literally went to bed Saturday night, and I fell asleep inside of a minute, and I woke up thinking, oh, Duke won. Well, Karen, because my flight got canceled Saturday night, so I came back home from the airport, one of those travel woes and all that, and so I really thought, okay, I got a good shot at winning men's and women's, and blah, 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 blah. Well, Duke laid the egg, and I don't know if you've seen it online, the probability of them winning.
Yep, I saw it.
Crazy, dude. Okay, my winner tonight, man, oh, man, the luck runs out of Houston because Duke, you can't say they outplayed them, but they did, except for the last minute. I just think Florida is way too athletic. I hope we don't see a blowout, but it's not going to surprise me. There's Devin Dowling going Florida 83, Houston 77. I think it could be a 10-point win by the Gators.
It's a 1-point spread. And just a couple hours ago, I was talking to JBL. He picked Houston. You're going Florida by 10?
Poor JBL's a Texan, like super.
Oh, you're right.
Like Super Dave, Super Dave, I saw him in the comments. I mean, who in their right man calls himself a wrestling fan and sleeps through the finish? Did you see Super Dave's comment today? You didn't. It's okay, but he literally slept through a finish. I mean, what you think? Tully blew him up or something, Connie?
Oh gosh, listen to you.
There it is. I pulled a Coach Keith and slept through the finish.
All right, let's do some questions here. We're getting a bunch of these questions coming in. We've got one from Trigger Cheese who wants to know, do you have a favorite guitar, and how good of a guitar player are you?
I am a hell of a guitar player. Do I have a favorite one? If I could turn my camera around, I would go to. So I've got.
Try it.
That's my whole screen. I can't do that.
Try it.
I'm not going to do that.
Let's just see. What's the worst that could happen?
My OCD and my desk and all that. No, I'm not going to do that. But the original TNA guitar.
Look at that. That's what it looks like when you spin, Jeff.
Okay.
Why can't you just spin?
Because I got a mess over there in my OCD.
Oh, you don't want to show everybody your mess. There you go. I get it. Okay.
But, I got the original. So a favorite guitar, I have the original right there that Don West gave me. What do you call those, prototypes or whatever it is that I said, Don, you're crazy. These will never, ever sell. There's no way. And sure enough, he off to the races. That's my favorite guitar and my favorite smash. I don't know if you ever went into my bathroom up here in the bonus, but right behind the commode, right behind the commode, I have it right behind the potty. I have a smash guitar hung up, and I got Big Papa Pump with that one. So it's funny that night at WCW, I said, "Hey, I want that." They're like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, I got Scott with that. I know he didn't want to take it, so I want it." So,
do you have the Beetlejuice remnants?
Oh,
where do you think those wound up?
Wish I'd literally last night, 0 hour, our audio crew, floor manager. Anyway, guys up there, I know this. In between breaks, guy walks up. He had to be in his mid-20s. He's like, "Hey, man, I just got to tell you, hey, in 45, we're back." He said, "I just saw on TikTok this week," and he just tried it out. I said, "You saw the Beetlejuice?" He said, "Yeah, how'd you know?" I said, "Everybody loves the Beetlejuice one." So Beetlejuice, the gift that keeps on giving.
Dude, he is such a character. I wish that he was available to make more appearances, because I would have him at Starrcast with you for the ultimate photo op.
That'd be good. You know what? Can you make that happen?
I mean, I've tried before, but I promise you I will try again, because I think that would be fantastic.
Maybe a charitable.
If he gets the outfit, because I know you got some Bob Vila glasses in those.
Oh, hell yes,
around somewhere.
I Slapnut shirt, Bob Vila.
Let's go.
Hey, you know what? We've got Shivani already. Can we get Mark Madden? Yeah, his soundbite on the end of it is hilarious. He just I
love that so much. We got a question here from Johnny. He's got a question that's on topic. And I think we should hit it, because, Lord, at this pace, who knows how much Gail Kim story we'll even get into. But Johnny wants to know, what made Gail Kim different from the other women in TNA?
Well, right out of the gate, she was the OG. I mean, look, I know we had dancers on the, people are going to say, no, she wasn't the original, and we had a little bit, but with me and America's Most Wanted, she was like the first one, and she really, really pushed. She did. If we get to the topic, if not, we'll get to it sometime. She really, really pushed for a women's division at that time. And I gave the pushback multiple times because I said, hey, we just, if we're going to do it, we got to make sure we give the proper amount of time to it. We got to have a deep enough roster, because when you have 4 or 6, it's so hard. I said, I think we need to get up to around 8. Anyway, what made her different right out of the gate? I just think you have to say her athleticism. She'd jump off the top and do a Hurricane Rana, but her athleticism in I'll call it the early days, jumped off the page. Now, look, obviously, as the days, months, and years rolled by, and Kong and the presence and her ability to really personify a female fighting athletic babyface. I think to this day, when you really, really look and maybe study her career during that TNA run, that's what she knew, how to be a babyface. And that's, you have to have time in and understand your craft and trade to really be able to do that. Yes, she had a great monster heel, but if she didn't know how to sell, and look, I don't want to get too far into this because we'll get into it and you'll ask the questions and we'll go through it, but the chemistry that had, and you got to give both of them in a lot of ways equal credit, but she knew how to be a babyface. And I'll say this with diplomacy, sometimes it is harder for a female to be that, as we call in the business, white meat babyface. I think it's harder for a female to portray that, because you still got to have an edge. And I don't want to say be a bitch, because then that pushes it over, but you got to have that edge. She very, very, very skilled, and I'll say this, professional wrestler.
Jeff, if you click over to the private chat section, I know you've been monitoring the comments.
Here we go.
Steve Fred says, what's the dumbest reason you've ever gotten heat in the locker room? So can you think about, I know there's lots of silly, wrestling etiquette that we fans don't always know about. What was the dumbest reason you remember ever getting heat in the locker room? An example while you're thinking might be, we've all heard the story that Miz was eating chicken in the locker room, and maybe some of the droppings off the crust went into someone's bag or something like that. We've also heard that maybe certain wrestlers didn't go shake everyone's hand and show the proper respect or what have you. But was there another silly thing where you remember thinking, wait, I got heat for that? This is stupid.
All right. We've never talked about this. And for about 1 minute one night, I wanted to let my anger go. So there was a situation way back when, I'll never forget it, Owensboro, Kentucky. I do look at the locker room, and I know things have changed through the years, but I'm talking about the locker room, not catering, not production rooms, not backstage. I'm talking about, there's signs, male locker room, but Owensboro, the center up there, obviously the heel room and the babyface room, but and they connect under a little hall. So anyway, we ran Owensboro every week, and it was Wednesday, because we were out of Evansville at the time, a very last minute deal. Conrad, I ended up having to take my Rottweiler with me on the road, and Jabbo put him in the car, rides up, super trained dog, whatever, military school. And anyway, very, very, very mannered dog. You tell him to sit, he's going to stay there. Steiner had a pit that way that was very mannered dog. Anyway, took him to the show and get up there and literally, go in, and all of a sudden I got the leash and all this kind of stuff. And I leash him to where I'm dressing, which was over. You'd have to know the locker rooms, but I was over in a kind of a cubby hole. Jabbo laid down, and I tied him up or hooked him up with a leash, and he just laid down. He'd just go to sleep or just chill out there. And so I go out and sign pictures and come back in and check on him about halfway. And then anyway, I had his water bowl and did the water bowl. And okay, you got enough water? He didn't touch the water. He didn't give two shits. He's going to lay there and go to sleep. Well, I guess as showtime got closer and I'm out selling pictures, and so I don't know if it's me selling pictures, Conrad, or that my dog was in the dressing room, or a combination of both. But as showtime, because, let's just say I think shows Evansville 7:30, so I would be at the table at 6:30. So you literally signed pictures for an hour. I bet I checked on the dog at least twice because it was easy. Run in there, check on him, right back. Well, right before bell time, I walk in and look, they knew, just don't mess with the dog. It's Jeff's dog. He's not going to cause any problems. He just let it happen. Just let the dog be. Well, I walked in and they had, and I said, let me say this, Eric Embry had Jabbo off his leash and he was feeding him candy and popcorn. And I said, what in the F are you doing? And, oh, man, anyway, they were pissed off that I brought the dog in the locker room. And I don't know how mad they really were. I really don't. But, maybe young guys. So, Eric had time in the business and other guys. I was still relatively young. What would that be? 91. So I'm still like 22, 23 years old. And I got it. I wasn't a big fan. But, hey, man, it was a unique set of circumstances. And Jabbo minded his own business. And so they were pissed off at me for that dog, being at the show and all that. In the locker room, all that. And then I caught him feeding it. So I had a few choice words and took my dog to the car and kept him out there the rest of the night. And got in the car, after the show, got in the car and went home. But I think I got a little heat that night. Yeah, that's the story that pops to my brain. I'm sure there's a lot of other things. The question, what's the dumbest reason? Yeah, maybe the dumbest reason is somebody don't like a finish. Like, come on, guys. But that's wrestler talk. So anyhow, there's your answer, pal.
Here's a fun one. We had a little basketball conversation a moment ago. I think this is kind of a fun question, as silly as it is. Devin Dowling wants to know, using only wrestlers you've gone against, who's the 5 you'd want on your team for pickup basketball?
Oh,
so let's say that you're going to be on the team. Now you got to round it out. What position are you playing? And give me the other 4 for a pickup basketball game. Who else is on your team?
I'm definitely playing 1. Kevin Nash is 4. Satnam Singh is 5. Mark Jindrak is 2. Because
that's a big 2 right there.
Buddy, there ain't a 2 in the world that can guard that boy. So
he's a good basketball player.
Oh, dude,
I didn't know that.
College athlete, yeah, and just his hops are unbelievable. So
who's in the 3 spot?
Oh boy.
By the way, I guess we should say Satnam Singh would be his center. Kevin Nash would be his power forward. Jeff's going to be the point guard. Jindrak is going to be the shooting guard. Who's the small forward?
Yes, man, that's a good question. So I definitely need. Oh boy, 3. Trying to think if there's anybody that just comes off the top of my mind. You know what? I may really go big here because Jindrak is athletic enough. He could play 2. I may slide in Ron Reese at 5. And Kevin.
Wait. Hang on. You're putting Ron Reese in there instead of The Undertaker?
I forgot about Mark.
Didn't he play basketball?
Hell yes, he played. We've talked hoop. See, that's what I'm saying. I would have to. Yeah, you're hitting me on the spot. Yeah, no doubt, Mark. No doubt. Taker's in there. Oh, man, can you imagine?
All right, so you're going to have Satnam at the center.
You know what? I'm changing it up because Satnam can run. You kind of watch him back in the day. He can run.
Yeah.
I may put, and Mark could too. Kevin.
So you're making Kevin Nash your center?
I may make Kevin 5. You know what? I'd probably talk to those three and who wants to do it. But Kevin 5, Satnam 4. What a power forward Mark would be 3. Jindrak 2, me 1. I'm ready to go right now, Connie.
I mean, you never wrestled Omos, but if you could count him, he'd have to be on the list too, right? Didn't he play ball?
Oh, yes, he did.
Yes. Just saying.
Yep.
A lot of great basketball players out there. Sometimes, though, listen, even Jeff needed the assist to remember the old Undertaker name there as a basketball player. Sometimes you need that in business, and that's why I recommend Envision Marketing Consultants. My man Eric Nichols over there helped me grow my digital presence. I thought I had figured out advertising because I was doing well on radio and TV. So I asked my same reps, hey, guys, how do I get one of those commercials like, on YouTube or on Amazon or on Hulu? They were quick to take my order. They were quick to cash my check. They were not quick to get me any results. They didn't know what the hell they were doing. They were selling me digital as quote unquote added value, but they weren't proficient in the space. So I thought, hey, digital advertising doesn't work. And I gave up. That is until I met Eric Nichols. Eric understood what I was looking for. I needed to understand the space. I needed to understand what I was buying. And what I needed most of all is more leads. And I'm talking to you, if you're a small business owner, you owe it to yourself to go chat with Eric. I believe in it so much, I'm letting him use my name at conradsguy.com. Now, I don't own the company. I'm not involved, but they really did help me. And if you've ever spent any time with me in business, you might hear me occasionally say, oh, I got a guy. Like, hey, you need some landscaping done? I got a guy. You need your roof repaired? I got a guy. Well, when it came to digital marketing, Eric Nichols was my guy, and he wants to be your guy at conradsguy.com. If you're a small business owner, I want you to know the cost of this to you is absolutely nothing. Just let Eric and his team take a look and see if they can help you with things like SEO, pay-per-click, targeted display, those streaming video ads on Hulu or YouTube or Amazon. If your company's doing any of that, you owe it to my buddy Eric to take a look. You owe it to your business to let Eric take a look. They've got decades of experience, but most importantly, they're staying on top of the technology now. We've all heard this word, the algorithm. But what is the algorithm and why is it changing? And do you want to spend all of your time thinking about that or actually, working on your business? That's why you need Eric. And he can help you if you're B2B or retail or food and beverage or manufacturing or nonprofits, hell, even mortgages. And best of all, if Eric and his team can't help you, they'll just tell you you're on the right track. Go right now to conradsguy.com, fill out the fast and easy form, and let Eric and his team get your digital marketing on track. That's conradsguy.com, Envision Marketing Consultants, where smart but simple marketing drives results. So, Jeff, we're having some fun with some easy, fun questions here, but I do have to ask a hard-hitting question, I guess, and I hate to be a downer.
Oh, boy.
But we saw on Friday night a big announcement from a guy that you and I both think a lot of. I'm talking about Kevin Owens. He was supposed to be headed to a WrestleMania showdown with Randy Orton, but instead he had to make the announcement that he's got to go away and have surgery. And I don't know the exact details, but we're led to believe it's a spine or back or neck issue of some sort. And anything like that is not a guarantee and not an easy road to recovery. We've seen some incredible performers like the Chris Benoits and the Edges and the Stone Colds and so many others have these issues, have a surgery and come back and they're okay. But we've seen others where, hey man, that might be it for a while. Guys like Edge had an issue and certainly Big E right now. And, TJ Wilson before him. We don't want any of that for Kevin Owens. We want him back happy and healthy and entertaining us as soon as possible. But this was a major moment that I did not expect. And I think because it leaked ahead of time, I watched it a little skeptical, wondering, is this a story?
Yes.
Is this a storyline? And I think that's one of the reasons I saw a report that Kevin was so upset that it leaked. He wanted to be the person to deliver this news to the fans. I feel badly that A, he had to give the speech, and B, he didn't get to do it the way he wanted to do it. Because I can't help but wonder how many fans were like me and thought, oh, it's a swerve, bro. Here it comes. Because we want everyone to Like, we just know this close to WrestleMania, 10 days out, and being told, hey, you're not going to be able to be there. That's got to be devastating. Talk me through what you thought as you saw Kevin Owens explaining that he's got to leave for a bit.
Well, what convinced you this isn't a work?
Nothing, I guess. I guess it could all be a work.
Yeah, and I'm not going down that road, but so we're going to just Kevin is, and if Conrad help me out here, but I think the understanding that it was kind of like two moves that happened, and I'm just like, and, you know, there's been a couple of things they put online, the bad bumps he's taken through all the years, and Kevin is one of those guys. He ain't afraid. I mean, he's taken big, I'll call them dangerous bumps, big bumps. And I guess something happened in a recent match. Man, I hate it. I mean, if that's the reality, look, it's never a good time, but man, what a disastrous time for all this to go down. And the thing that, you know, Conrad, it feels like it was just yesterday. And then on the other hand, kind of like a lifetime that, man, you have C3, C4, C5 surgery, you're done. It is instant retirement. You know, it's over. But now with, I guess you could say, the advancements in the procedures and the technology and the healing and what they know and all that, have they given a specific diagnosis? My understanding is no, because that's what I would kind of lean into, like, what actually is the surgery? Because I do know enough to know neck surgeries can be minor or major. I think that's the easy way to say it. Man, I hate it for him. What a hell of a performer. Puts his heart into this business in so many ways and has for years. And so missing a Mania is huge for those guys.
I hate it for him. I hope that
do we know, Conrad, like what the specific surgery is, or no yet? Have they let that out?
Yeah. I don't know.
Okay, that's fine.
It does bring about the question. It feels silly and even maybe unfair to even ask as a follow-up. But if you were guessing, who do you think, this is not important, but who do you think is going to be Randy Orton's WrestleMania opponent now? We saw him hit the RKO and Nick Aldis. I saw some people saying, oh gosh, I hope this means Nick Aldis gets a WrestleMania match against Randy Orton. Sign me up for that. I would love for Nick to have his WrestleMania moment. But if this leads to Nick, as the GM, introducing another talent into that match, that feels a little more likely.
Yep.
And there's a variety of different ways they could go there. But there's speculation that, according to the rumor and innuendo, Rusev has re-signed with WWE. Would that be the way to bring him back, or what would you do with Randy Orton's WrestleMania moment?
You know, the internal, and I don't even want to say roster, because it would be the internal options that I'm sure they are going through. Let's all put our heads together and figure out the best story, the best route, the best way to get there, who's available, what's going to make the most sense. Who deserves the opportunity to step into the ring with the Viper, who needs this opportunity. You know, I kind of think from a brand, no matter what promotion you're in, you're going to have to kind of look through, okay, Owens is off the board. Who do we have on our roster that, I mean, needs this kind of opportunity to take him to another level? That's why it's just a shot in the dark until I had, you know, kind of options. Throw me some names out there, Conrad, if you know any that are being bandied around, because I have not followed this one.
No, all good. I mean, I threw around enough. You know, I do want to ask about some other big news and notes. It feels like the big debate and the big discussion online this past weekend was about a segment that happened on Smackdown. And if you're a part of our live studio audience, you probably know what we're going to be talking about next. I do, before we get to that, want to hit another question from Trigger Cheese.
Oh, come on with it, Trigger.
Why have the AEW replica behind you when you haven't won that shit? Is that you trying to send a message? Insert promo here. I think, you know, listen, sometimes people need a they need some motivation. They need a goal. They need to manifest that goal. And I remember as a young salesperson, I used to hear guys say, hey, you need to take a picture of your goal and put it on your dash. So as you're driving, you're looking at it, or put it, but where you can see it, when you're brushing your teeth in the mirror every morning or what have you. Is that sort of what the AEW belt is behind you? That's your stated goal, or am I off base?
Well, Conrad, I mean, we've talked about this a couple of different slants, and yes, we do a podcast. Absolutely love it. Been having a blast since you conned me into this. All kidding aside, I do. I really enjoy the My World listeners, whether it's conventions or at Dynamites or collisions or pay-per-views, or there's a guy in between breaks last night. Hey, shout out My World, not in all this. I see guys in the airport. Hey, will you tell Conrad? And so, look, it is since the inception of the pod, I had the big gold one back there and the 10 pounds of gold and the IC belt, and I'd won all three of those. But, as this year started, it was a big, big deal when I re-signed, because I think logic tells me, maybe others, but certainly me, I'm the one that's lacing up the boots. This is probably my last talent contract, and options included and everything that goes with it. And I kind of made the bold statement that, look, I want to go out with a bang. And how do you go out with the biggest bang of all? And that is shoot for the biggest prize of all with the company that you sign with. What's their biggest prize? It's the AEW World title. I said it in the opening in ring on January 1st of this year. I may fall flat on my face. Karen has said around the house as of late, you're probably going to end up somewhere in between. What do you think? And I said, you know what? I have that belt because the big gold one is over there. I have it back there, and for a number of reasons, both work and personal. For years, my dad gave me way back that poem, Don't Quit. I read it at his funeral. In high school, I had a guy jumping rope. I had a little photo that I had in my bathroom that I kept up because I wanted to get in 2,000 jumps a day. And I did that for, 2 years, whatever it may be. I've always used kind of markers. I've got them in my car right now. One of them's kind of business driven. The other one's spiritual driven. I've always used, I'll kind of call it markers or reminders, or, I don't want to necessarily say goals, but yet you could interpret it that way. But it is a set piece that is a reminder. And look, I landed today, and the first thing I did, and this, Conrad, I came home, got me a quick little bowl of oatmeal. I was up at, so that's 3 a.m. Nashville time. Did my 15-minute stretching routine, but I got home. First thing I did was go to the gym. So while I am in an active talent, I stay in the very best possible shape I can. And why do I do that? I want to perform the very best I can. And there's going to be more opportunities in my final contract. And I'm going to be damn sure that I'm in the best physical shape. So whether it's a world title shot, whether it's a TNT or any other shot, tag, trios, AEW, ROH, whatever it may be, I'm going to be ready for that opportunity. And so, yeah, it is somewhat of a marker for me that kind of takes in my AEW mindset.
I got to ask, hypothetically, if you were to get the bat signal right now from Mrs. Jarrett, I mean, I know you want to be as prepared as you can. You want to be as ready as you can.
Oh, boy.
I mean, you probably want to keep some Blue Chew handy, don't you? Just in case.
The Queen calls.
Just in case. Jeff has hard-ons on demand thanks to Blue Chew. It's stroke after stroke after stroke thanks to Blue Chew. Have better sex with Blue Chew. And now I'm excited to tell you Blue Chew Max has arrived. It combines the active ingredients of Viagra and Cialis into one chewable. This is what happens when the real mega powers explode. This is a combo that acts fast and lasts. You need to be ready whenever she needs it. And Blue Chew wants to hook you up with your first month of Blue Chew free. You see, they're telling you that great sex is just a few clicks away. All you got to do is sign up at BlueChew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. Blue Chew's tablets are made in the USA. They're prepared and shipped directly to your door. And the best part is it's all done online. That means no visits to the doctor's office, no awkward conversation, and no waiting in line at the pharmacy. So make your life easier by getting harder and discover your options at BlueChew.com. We've got a special deal for our listeners. Try your first month of Blue Chew free. All you got to do is use our promo code MyWorld. Pay the $5 shipping. The promo code is MyWorld. Just visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring today's podcast and Karen Jarrett's smile. So, Jeff,
right on, Johnny.
Hey, speaking of woo, we got to hit a woo about this past weekend.
What you got?
The internet was abuzz about the in-ring promo showdown in front of a very hot crowd in Chicago. The Queen, Charlotte Flair, face-to-face with the WWE Women's Champion, Tiffany Stratton. Wade Barrett was hanging around back there for some reason. I got to get your take on this. There's a lot of speculation that people went off script and this didn't go according to plan. And maybe that was validated when certain clips were removed. I think WWE has actually removed parts of this. I don't know what's real and what's not, but I know people went from saying, I don't want to see this match. It's not a dream match. I'm over it. I don't care. And now people are talking about it almost exclusively. What was your takeaway this past Friday night watching SmackDown?
Connie, I think in the comments early, anyway, I think we've already gotten a couple of comments about this. Conrad, I truly don't even know where to start on this one. I've got a lot of questions that I've asked myself out loud and trying to think through. You know me, I put on my promoter cap for just about any and everything. And as I mentioned earlier, Cody wanted to see Ray Phoenix's debut and Friday night, and we're home, and I'm a wrestling guy, so I always have it on, whatever that's going on, because Cody loves it, and he does his Instagram to YouTube to X surfing, and if he likes something by the end of the night, he'll know all of his promo lines, and he'll start repeating, and I'll try to ask him something you want for dinner, and he'll give me a yeet this and a yeet that. But Conrad, I'm going to ask these questions, and I'm not saying you got the answer to it. So chime in if you want to, but here is, because I didn't see it live, but I went back and watched it. But here was my Cody Angle's comments of, hey, Codes, how's, once the Ray Phoenix say, how's things going? What happened in this segment? And I think actually it was Karen who said, hey, Codes, because, Charlotte is one of Cody's favorites. They bonded years ago, but I think Karen said, hey, was Charlotte on? And he said, yeah. And I said, well, what happened in that? And Cody's response was, Tiffany ran off from her, got scared of her, and ran away.
Oh, okay. And
I just went, wait, what, Cody, what? Because in my mind, I'm thinking, all right, Charlotte's the heel, I think.
Yeah.
But the babyface isn't going to run away, and she's the challenger. It just didn't click at all. And I said, Cody, are you sure? Because look, everybody can see different things. And I said, are you sure? And he just kind of looked at me and said, yeah. She said, I said, well, what happened? She said, oh, they started talking back and forth. Okay. So that gave me enough intrigue to go back and kind of watch it. And I'm like, all right. And then obviously Saturday at the gym doing cardio, then you really get dialed into it. But Conrad, watching it back on Friday night, boy, did I have some questions, because none of it added up. If we're selling the icon, legend, if you will, the most decorated female, and however you want to position Charlotte versus the young upstart, and I get it, and I'm sure it's by design with WWE. They want, the blonde, just the moonsaults. whatever comparisons you want to draw together. And then when you see it go out and they and I'm going to jump around here, the boos, Conrad, like, I get the Dom thing, but you can see people when Dom is being booed, you can clearly see that that's just kind of turning the volume up. And Saturday morning.
What do you mean turning the volume up? Can you explain?
Okay. Dom is a heel and gets a lot of heat. And I think in the early days of his character development, they poured the gas on it. And I don't want to say they really did the WWE of things, but they took his character to another level. It became part of his shtick that he's got so much heat, the crowd won't let him talk. And look, through the years, there have been ebbs and flows of all kind of stuff like that. But Charlotte, Russo, our man Vince Russo even tweeted, which I found funny because that was on the scroll doing cardio Saturday morning, is that they piped in the booze. I'm like, yeah, why did they do that when she was clearly, I thought and this is no surprise for a Chicago crowd, I thought they took them both as baby faces. And then, it goes without saying as it went off the rails, but here's where it really, to me, got confusing for Tiffany. And here's where I had some compassion for Tiffany. If she's this young underneath, and we've referenced Gail, underneath baby face, that, man, I'm going to get my shot at the queen, the greatest female professional wrestler of all time. If I'm going to get my shot at her, then I really need to be the all shucks kid next door. And I know you got to have piss and vinegar and you got to have fire and spunk as a baby face, but man, to really build things up, and she can just say, oh man, whatever the verbiage can be. But when you start dropping the insider stuff and look, depending on what demo you're in, when she starts bringing in the personal stuff about marriages, and it was like straight out 101. Okay, so is Tiffany the heel? I get it now. She wants to be heel, but no, I don't think. Conrad, are they selling Tiffany to be the heel? That was confusing. In the I'll call it the shoot comments or the insider jabs or whatever it may be. And Memphis TV and Lawler and Jerry Jarrett and others, and at different times in my career, you can kind of look at different stories that I've been in. And if you can blur the lines and personal issues draw money and blah, 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 we can go down that road all you want. But how did a 25-year-old perceived babyface girl taking pot shots at the queen and then drop the mic and roll out of the ring? Like, where did all that psychology make sense? I'm at a loss on how does that build to mania? How's that productive? And to me, because she dropped and rolled, and I think optics go a long, long way. Now more than ever, Charlotte is the babyface, and they want to say, beat that little bitch's ass. But I don't think that's what they want, or do they? Conrad, I guess what I'm saying is I'm probably more confused on what they're selling now. Now, look, we can get into the social line, social media, and the narrative, and he said, she said, and blah, blah, all this kind of stuff. And look, as long as you're talking, I've said it over and over and over, it's a positive. But damn, Conrad, that I'm just, you wanted comments. I don't even know how to respond to it, because it is very apparent there is so much more to this story, professionally and personally, that we don't know. But at the end of the day, I don't think it resonated with the audience. That's kind of where I'm going with it. Does that make sense, Conrad?
Well, you said that you found it confusing. Now, do you have a best practice about the word confusing or confuse in wrestling? Like, as a marketer, as a promoter,
you confuse them, you lose them. I've said it over and over and over. You confuse them, you lose them. And so if Tiffany is going to say what she said, then if I'm in Hollywood writing a script I mean, and I hate to say that, but if I'm writing I'm writing a TV show, if I'm doing wrestling, if I'm doing a street corner fight, if I'm doing this, I'm doing that. The baby face, the good guy, is going to say, hey, you're 0-3 or whatever the silliness, but I mean, kind of hurtful things that were said. If you're going to say that, then get face to face with her and back Charlotte down. The boos that were piped in, that was a complete mess. And the live crowd, I don't think bought into it, what it appeared. That's what I'm saying. I think the whole segment completely missed. And that is very, very, very uncharacteristic in so many ways.
Of WWE, of Triple H.
I think the product. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, look, you can say what you want, good or bad, and I'm not going to just say Vince McMahon. I'm going to say Jerry Jarrett, Jerry Lawler, Dusty Rhodes, David Manning. We can go through all the bookers in the world. Pat Patterson. In that, you kind of have to. We're writing music here. My buddy Toby Keith. Like you have, when you write a song, and it can be the absolute best lyrics in the world that are biting and just emotionally pull you in. If you don't have the right, and you can write the best hooks, but if you don't have the right rhythm, if you don't write the right music to go along with it, then you're never going to have a number one hit. And so when you have, I think Tiffany is supposed to be the baby face. When you have her take personal shots, scripted or unscripted, and like throw that out the door for this conversation. When you have to take those personal shots and then she doesn't back it up with her physicality, then you just go, guys, what are we doing here? Like, what are we selling here? What are we trying to do here? Because I think at the end of the day, every promoter will tell you, hey, let's don't book what I like. Conrad, let's don't book what you like. Let's don't book what talent A likes. Let's don't book what talent B likes. The promoter, the writer, the production guy, the cameraman. Let's put out there what the people want and deliver it in the very possible case that we can. In my opinion, that wasn't done at all.
I'm seeing a lot of discussion. There's even debate going on today about were the ladies off script? Were they shooting, bro? Or, was this all a part of it and we're all being quote unquote worked and they've built intrigue? You're shaking your head no immediately.
Do you think for 1 minute that the writing teams would script a 25-year-old babyface who's super athletic and can do all the moves? Do you think for a minute they're going to script her, hey, say this line, drop the mic, and roll out and run from her?
Wait, so you think it's more likely that a 25-year-old who's in her first world title win, who's on her way to her first WrestleMania match, you think she would go into business for herself and have shoot comments? I don't buy that for a second.
Okay. See, that's what, like, right now, the fact that we're talking about it and pull the layers of the onion is why I just said I'm confused.
Yes.
Nothing adds up.
And we're all getting hooked. We're all talking about it.
There you go.
If that was the intent of WWE, well done, I guess. But
well done.
No, it's not. Listen, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense for a baby face to have a comment and throw the mic and powder and run away. That's chicken shit heel behavior. And I can't imagine they're doing some sort of a double turn and Charlotte's leaving WrestleMania the baby face and she's the heel. If we both know, and I know Russo pointed it out first, but you can tell that's what you didn't say explicitly earlier when you were like, they're doing the Dom treatment, is they were piping in booze.
Sure.
And you try to make it Pavlovian. If you turn it up enough, as she brings the mic to her mouth, the fans will get with it and they'll be part of the show. That's what you're looking for.
And I'm not criticizing that.
No.
The proper deal. wasn't jive. That's why I'm confused, Conrad. They piped in the booze, which means the production is wanting Charlotte to be the heel. Okay. With that being said, then you have Tiffy time powdering. Help me understand that one, pal.
I mean, listen, the whole thing is a real head scratcher. I mean, we saw Charlotte make the appearance on the Sherry Shepherd show and tell the real life Ashley Flair story. And I mean, like crying her eyes out doing it. And then the next day it's referenced in a promo. It makes me wonder, hey, is that not how she really feels? And that was a work and she's in on this and they all agreed on it and blah, blah, blah. Cause I'm thinking, boy, that's not the Ashley. I knew that was a real insecurity of hers. I just couldn't imagine that there'd be a scenario where that would be what they're doing. But then when Tiffany threw the mic down, it's like, wait, that's heel behavior. Picking on someone's mental health is heel behavior.
Yeah.
Saying a big gotcha line, throwing the mic and running away. Usually when a baby face has a heart, watch when Cody throws down some sort of a bad line. F you, Rock. He didn't throw the mic down and haul ass to the back.
No.
He stuck his chin out there like, what are you going to do? Because that's what baby faces do. Like, here's what I believe in. And as the kids say, I'm standing on business.
With conviction.
When you throw the mic and run away, now you're a chicken shit heel. So it's like, that didn't make any sense, Jeff.
That's why, look, and I didn't see the Sherry Shepherd. So that's another layer. Like, man, you want to talk about intricate storytelling. We're going to have her a sympathetic baby face on this form of media. Okay, if that is what, you know, these appearances are done in the WWE office, they are very good at getting, you know, plugging and playing and getting females on this talk show and certain people on this sports show and certain people on this entertainment show. Okay, we've got Charlotte Flair on this show, and so she's going to talk about her real struggles. And look, believe me, we all go through hell in life and come back and go through it again. Sometimes it's just what we call life. If that's the case, okay. But on your SmackDown program, you're obviously wanting her heel and you're piping in the booze. Conrad, I'm getting more confused sitting here right now than I was before we started this, because sometimes you help me make it make sense, but you're not doing a very good job of that.
Well, it doesn't make any sense. Like the only thing that makes sense is if they're trying to set up some sort of double turn. But to your point, the whole like Sherry interview, like, I mean, let's be honest. How many wrestling fans are watching that show?
I don't know.
So it's not like, hey, we all saw you on Sherry Shepherd. That's not real. Like, I don't know a single person. I didn't even know that show existed until I saw the clips. Like, it's not on my radar. And I can't imagine Pondwater Dave and Coach Rossi and little Jimmy Sorensen and our studio audience today here on YouTube. I can't imagine for a minute they were all like, oh, I watched her live on the Sherry Shepherd.
Chuck E. Cheese may have.
Amanda Rogers says, I'm a girl and I didn't even watch it. LOL. Yeah, because we didn't even know it existed. It's not a show that's so it's hard for me to imagine that this was the original plan, but it's also impossible for me to buy the fact that, oh, you know, Tiffany's off script. She stuttered getting the line out. And this is worth mentioning. I think she said the phrase boohoo talk show. I got a couple 21-year-olds running around my house. I ain't never heard them say boohoo. But that 25-year-old didn't say boohoo. Like, this is scripted. WWE scripted that, but now they're trying to present the narrative that, oh no, they went off script and we're going to delete it. I don't buy that. And I've also seen people saying, and this is where it gets weird, Jeff. I'm seeing people say in the comments, because I even posted, just saw not cool and nothing else. And I got people ripping me apart saying, oh, you're biased. She's my sister-in-law. You not biased to your family? Like, what?
Which is crazy. Yeah.
What are we talking about? That's number one. But number two, I saw people actually suggesting, and I couldn't believe that this was real. Oh, well, Charlotte went off script first. And they referenced when they did that side-by-side interview on SmackDown a couple weeks ago, it was a pre-tape. Jeff, If you have a pre-tape and they go off script, you've produced a lot of wrestling in your day.
And I've seen many get out of bounds. Not yet, but I've seen many. Hey, folks, let's dial this bad boy in.
No. When they went off script, you just ran that one. You aired it, right?
Oh, Conrad.
It's a pre-tape. You can't possibly cut it again and get it right, can you?
What the best thing to do is you have that format in your hand and you throw it down and say, guys, I want this to get done, and I've got a lot of other stuff to shoot today. Can we get this done now? Oh, okay. Well, we got that out of our system. Now let's go to work and do what is being asked of us and get it done. That's why, hey, man, Conrad, and there is nothing like live TV. Nothing. You can't put it in reverse. You can't get an edit. You can't do so many things. We're live, pal.
Mr. Epic has it right. He says, work or shoot, everyone is talking about it. I think that's what WWE was looking for with the segment.
But let me play the other side of that. I agree. And Mr. Epic, appreciate you joining us here on YouTube, My World. I really do. Although, and I've always said this, that you want people talking. The worst thing that can do is not say anything.
Yes.
With that being said, going into the top female match of WrestleMania with the most successful female in company history, I just think you want a clear, divided line, because I don't think the way they have Tiffany positioned, and I think Amanda put it in there just a second ago, and I've heard about this. I was at War Games. Tiffy, Amanda Rogers says, like I was at War Games and Tiffy was so over in the building, this should be so easy. That's kind of my point, that as my man Dutch Mantel used to say, hey, Jeff, just go run the play. And what he meant was, we don't have to do all this razzle dazzle. He's just like, give it to your running back and let him go right up the gut, and he's going to get us 7 or 10 yards every play. And we're going to go score. Don't get fancy. Don't get out of bounds. Don't try to do all this. Just let it happen. And that's kind of where I'm going with it, Mr. Epic, in that how could this get so convoluted? Yes, we're all talking about it, but is it really doing? And I'm not. Charlotte's Teflon, no doubt about it. Gets that from her father as well. But I mean, she's Teflon. That character, she has absolutely worked her ass off to get where she's at, and that just kind of comes with the equity. Tiffy, on the other hand, man, she's stepping onto this big stage. Out of all we're talking about and all the things going on, we're not talking about, man, Tiffy is really going to get on the grandest stage of them all and get her first gigantic win. We're not talking about that. We're talking about her dropping the mic and rolling out and running like a heel. That's the unfortunate part, Mr. Epic. That's what I'm saying. Yes, we're all talking about it. Not sure we're talking about it in the right context.
I would agree with that. I mean, because I think what everybody's talking about is the gotcha moment in a promo. And now they're wondering, hey, are they going to beat each other up for real? I mean, that's what I keep seeing in the comments, is people saying, oh, there's going to be live rounds. This is going to be a real fight. And it's like, if we're thinking that that's the direction it's going, maybe it's working, maybe it's not. But I'm as confused on this build about she's a baby face, but she's a chicken shit heel running away, throwing down the mic and running away, as I am about the actual main event. Like, it feels like the Cody Cena main event. At first, it was because Cena was with The Rock. But after that initial elimination chamber, we've not seen or heard from The Rock at all. So that was confusing. And then Cena came out and explained why he did what he did, but it was really a promo about his relationship with the fans more so than Cody. They've tried to bring it together now, but I have seen some criticism about the build for this year's WrestleMania. And I think people are confused with, wait, is The Rock involved in this or is he not? And what is John Cena's problem with Cody? And now, of course, we've got this on the ladies' side. And I don't remember there being a ton of super successful multi-man main events. It feels like usually at WrestleMania, when it's a 3-man or a 4-man or 4 corners or whatever, it gets confusing. I think the Monday night, or the first night, the Saturday night main event, is a 3-way now. And there's some questions about Paul Heyman where is he at? Does that make Punk a heel? Is he the babyface? Is Roman the heel? I think this may be one of the more confusing go-home stretches we've ever had for WrestleMania, Jeff.
Well, as we record this on Monday, the 7th, we have about 15 minutes, and there's going to be new developments, if you will. I think they've got 2 Mondays to go and 2 Fridays to go.
That's right.
And so they do have time to super laser focus it. I'll completely concur with you on that triple threat. I'm going to say it. That shocked me.
Why did it shock you?
Roman Reigns.
You broke up on us. Your kids are on the internet or something. Can you say that again?
I'm going to be pissed off if they.
We're closing it down now. Just tell me what you said again. Say it again.
One guy, Roman Reigns. I did not see. Has Roman been in any match in WrestleMania in the last 7, 8, 9, 10 years outside of a single? I don't think so. I may be wrong.
There was the tag match to main event last year, night 1.
Okay.
But that was to establish night 2.
That's set up. Yeah, that's set up. That's what I'm saying is Roman has been,
Mono the whole time.
Well, and Shawn Michaels is the original Mr. WrestleMania, but yeah, Roman has been in main event and he's still quote unquote the guy, and that's all due respect to Cody. And I'm not getting in that conversation. I'm just saying Roman has been in single main events for 10 years. And I'm not saying Seth or Punk don't deserve it. None of that kind of conversation. I'm just saying you're going to ask the people. You're splitting allegiances.
Oh wait, I lied. I was wrong because a few years ago, this is the pandemic WrestleMania. It was Daniel Bryan and Adam Copeland when they were both on their way to AEW. He stacked them on top of each other and beat them.
Sure did.
Yeah, I forgot about that one.
Okay. Pandemic. I'm still anyway. That's what surprised me out of it. That Roman in the babyface slot, and when he came back, what was that at Raw at the Garden?
Yeah.
I just kind of thought, here they go during that route. Roman babyface, huge win. Is this his first Mania as a babyface? I'm saying in a while. Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely his first in a while for sure.
That's where I'm going with all of it. That okay, Cody night 1 or night 2 and vice versa. Cody Roman are their headliners. That's what I'm saying.
Well, we've got a lot of comments here. Mr. Epic, who he knows a thing or two about the wrestling business, been on the independent scene, and he says if the workers can't follow it, the fans definitely won't be able to, and good guys don't run away. So there's lots of debate, lots of discussion about what they're doing right and what they're doing wrong with this year's WrestleMania. Of course, we're going to continue watching the news. We're all going to watch Raw tonight. We're all going to watch SmackDown this weekend, and we'll see as we get closer.
Going to watch them Gators tonight too, pal.
Yeah, listen, I am pulling for Florida because I'm an SEC guy. Yeah. But yeah, we're going to have to see what's going on here because JBL, who is a pretty decent little handicapper, he thinks it's going to be Houston. We'll talk about that and Gail Kim.
But hold on. Before we go, let's circle back. Dynamite. You got any predictions, my man? Any predictions? Wednesday night Dynamite, Bucks back in the scene, Swerve, Hangman. Hell, Conrad, you may have a Starrcast announcement for us, do you?
We'll have to tune in on Wednesday and see.
Okay.
Yeah, look at the sun coming in here.
It comes in on
light. Yeah. So that's what we're dealing with. Sorry about that.
Beautiful.
So listen, we don't know exactly what's going to happen this Wednesday, but what I do expect, who do you think is the biggest babyface in AEW right now?
Ooh.
Just name any name, Jeff. If you know of any baby faces in AEW, just pick one. Any one baby face.
You need to factor meal in you more than anything.
Are there any good guys in AEW? The company you work for. Have you seen a good guy in the hallway?
Yeah, Jeff Jarrett. No, the Billy Goat. I'm gonna go Will Ospreay. He there's nothing not to like about the guy. I'm a huge Ospreay fan in a lot of. Yeah.
Here's what I think happens then.
Okay.
I think this Wednesday, the babyface, the biggest babyface in AEW, the top dog, the best wrestler, the biggest babyface, I think he's going to cut a promo that shoots on people's real life and then throw the mic and then run to the backstage area. That's what I think he'll do.
Okay. You're getting cranky. You're hungry. But
no, I'm just saying it's a real head scratcher. I don't know what's going on, but I can't wait to see what happens next. We appreciate you guys joining us. We hope you had fun with our live broadcast. Our intention was to cover Gail Kim. My God, I've got 17 pages of notes, and I'm ready to go.
Yeah, she is the OG of the knockouts, and we're going to get into that story and Awesome Kong stories and the knockouts. We'll probably throw a little bit of a Queen in there and all the. Anyway, it was a very, very good time in TNA, and Gail, Hall of Famer that she is, she was right there at the foundation of the knockouts. I'm very appreciative to all the contributions that she did make to TNA back in the day.
Looking forward to it. Stay tuned. Gail Kim coming up soon right here on My World.
Peace.